Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the Yegi project. Today we have Sharon, who is a mindset coach and is going to share her story with us about how she moved to Mexico, got overwhelmed, then decided she needed to do something about her lifestyle. And now she is coaching other busy mothers who can balance their lives better. Hi, I'm Yegi. I'm an entrepreneur and success coach who wants it all: family, luxury, career, and the freedom to do whatever I want whenever I want. And I'll do whatever it takes to get there. I created the Yegi project to document my journey and inspire others to do the same. My mission is to change the world by influencing and leading others to do what they love and live fulfilled lives. So Sharon, please share a little bit of your story. That was just a little intro that I read about you. Please tell us more in detail. Who is Sharon? What do you currently do? And a little bit of background.
Okay, so there's a short version and a longer version. I'll just tell you the shorter version. I'm a devoted mother, an entrepreneur for over 2 decades, a published author, and a mindset coach for mompreneurs. And I'm really dedicated to empowering women and busy mothers to reclaim their authentic selves and reconnect to themselves. You know, through the journey of motherhood, through the years, you get so used to nurturing and putting others first, you kind of lose yourself in that process. And especially when it's, a child, and then after 2 years, another one. And, when you're in that
Yes.
process for a long while, it's like you disconnect from yourself. And I did too. And I kind of lost myself on the way and was really searching. And there was not a lot out there. There's a lot of things out there for mothers in the physical, lactate breastfeeding, or right now postpartum depression, or one-on-ones. But there's that connection, and women in general, mothers see it very clearly. But we all, as women, we all have that. Like, through life, we're so used to pleasing and nurturing and taking care of and being on top of so many things that we kind of lose ourselves in the process. And I think
Yeah, it's
it's
very easy
beautiful.
to do that
Yeah.
in the day-to-day, hustle of everything. It's easy to lose your purpose, yourself, and what you're about because you're just trying to keep up with the day-to-day of surviving. Can
Right,
you take
exactly.
us back a little bit more and tell us how you got started with the research? And now I found that you're also an author. Tell us a little bit about your book. But take us back. So, back from when you had just become a mother, can you tell us a little bit more?
Yeah, we moved a year earlier, my husband and I, to Mexico. So it was like a new country, new language. We didn't know the language besides colors and food and things like that. And we decided to we had a little business in Arizona, and we decided to build a part of it in Mexico, and distribute makeup, mineral makeup, and natural products.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And yeah, and we had a few locations, and it was all like a lot of discovering, the process besides work from 7 days a week from morning to night. It was like a lot of discovering how to speak Spanish, and, mentality. It's a different mentality. It's a different lifestyle from what I'm used to, which is beautiful. I love different cultures. And
Are you currently
um,
still
eh,
in Mexico?
no, I'm in San Diego, California.
Oh, you're back.
Yeah, I'm in San Diego. And through that, like, entrepreneurial journey, I had 2 children. And before that, I thought I had it. Like, I knew everything. Like, I was a big boss. I could I could handle so many conflicts and so many things that just fell on me with so much ease. I thought I knew it all. And then motherhood joined in there. And motherhood was like, you thought you knew it all. Wait and see, my dear. Wait and see. And it was like I received the biggest meaning and the biggest mirror to my face. And that mirror brought me through a long process of noticing those things of disconnection. Like, for example, like, what color do I like? What music what? Like, I remember the time, I always tell this story. My husband one day came, I read this article, and I looked at him like, how dare you even have, what? You read an article? Like, who has time to read an article? Like, I am so packed and overwhelmed. I don't even know what I like, what color I like. So just that realigning with yourself, rebalancing yourself, finding that, zen in all that chaotic time and craziness is so important. And there's not enough out there that helps with that.
And how old are your children now?
13, 10, and 5.
Oh, nice. So
yeah, my younger one came for my 40th birthday. He was like, "Hey, I'm joining in." And I was like, "Okay, great."
Nice. So share a little bit more with us. So it sounds like you had to do a lot of work to kind of find your balance again and find yourself. When did you realize that, no, like, I need to stop and find myself or work on that part of it? I can't just be giving 100% of myself to my work, to my kids, and not be getting enough sleep. Because I remember also reading that you were burnt out. You couldn't even wake up some days to help your kids out, get dressed. Like, you had to have multiple coffees a day.
Right.
So share that part of it with us.
Like, I'm embarrassed to even say in case my kids one day hear it, but like, my coffee was to the point of, like, I would walk by the Starbucks in the mall and wave at them, and they knew they would do like a venti Americano, which has 4 shots inside with an extra 2 shots of espresso inside. And that was like twice a day. Easy.
Wow.
And like, I found myself, but I was working nonstop. Running the business, I had a lot of people from out of Mexico come in, different employees, and I was like their mother too. So I was trying to be everywhere 100% all the time. And like, I would come home, bathe my kids, go back out, talk to them sometimes till 11 o'clock at night. And some were, younger, in their 20s, and found themselves alone as well and needed someone to talk to. And like, I was just coaching constantly and working 7 days a week till one day, like, my heart was like skipping beats. And I found myself at the cardiologist, and it's like, dude, you have some blood in your coffee system and your caffeine system, and you got to do something about it. And yeah, it was a big change. That was the first wake-up call, and that took me to the point that I needed to listen, reconnect to myself and listen to my inner dialogue, listen to my intuition again, trying to understand what it is that's important for me, and not just setting goals for everyone else. And I'm not talking, because I was great at setting goals for work and for, my personal goals for, you got to accomplish all these to-do things. I'm great at that. But like, real goals that kind of allow you to breathe on the way. So I started listening to my inner dialogue, listening to power of our thoughts, the power, how that survival mode that we're in for so many years brings us to like this victim mentality, loss of boundary, and loss of being present, because we're either always constantly worried about something in the future or frustrated from something in the past that happened, and telling ourselves these stories that don't really help us move forward and don't help us move along and create a stronger place. And last August, I found myself again in kind of a big, how do you call it? Like this crossroad. Life presented me with cancer. I have multiple myeloma. And
Mm.
after working with women for 6, 7 years on inner dialogue, reconnecting to your authentic self, being in, with your intuition, and having this process of working your way to reconnect and rediscovering yourself, suddenly I found myself using that process to heal. And my missing piece in that whole process was self-love,
Mm.
because I was always just okay. I was always perfect. I got it, everything handled. I was able to take care of everything, right? We got this.
It was more about crossing things off the list and just keeping up with the high demand of responsibilities that you had, it sounds like. You never like
Right.
pause, ask yourself, am I happy? What am I doing? Am I healthy?
Right. And in that process, in those 6 years that I was helping moms, I did ask those questions, but there was that missing part. Like, I did ask those questions. I started listening to my internal dialogue and hearing, like, I am my worst critic. Like, things like, wow, how much self doubt am I giving myself? Am I, so if it was self doubt, if it was, oh, you're so stupid. Oh, how'd you do that? Oh, why'd that always happen? Yeah, it's great,
Self-talk.
but blah, blah, blah. Where I finished a wonderful task, and instead of, oh my gosh, I finished writing my book and I was so excited, and I had an excitement for the day, the next day, the week, let's say. This is my book, by the way, if I may. And then it just
Awesome.
passed. I had to move on, It was like, okay, great. You finished a book, took you 2, 3 years, but celebrate, great. A whole week, that was great. You wasted a lot of time. No, I'm kidding. But like, there's always something else to do. And it's always so much easier paying attention to someone else's needs. And I thought, again, I had it because I was learning to listen to my inner dialogue. I was placing boundaries. I was putting mama time. I was integrating, exercise. I was integrating so many things like meditation. I integrate daily meditation for over 6 years into my life. I practiced so many mindfulness things. And I was like, really? How embarrassing. Me, cancer. Wait, what's going on? And
Cut you
revisiting
off.
that. Yeah, yeah. And revisiting that and going over those 12 steps again to reconnect and rediscover and like really realign myself to me. It's time to cut out the voices from outside and the voices from inside that are not empowering anymore.
Wow. Now, are you currently fighting cancer, or were you able to get past that?
It's a high risk multiple myeloma. It was occupying 95% of my bone marrow when they discovered it. After 6 weeks, I want to say it's the integration of the Western medicine and the mindset, and all the alternative practices that I did. After 6 weeks, I was almost clear and clean.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, multiple myeloma is something that stays with you for the rest of your life, and I'm still in the midst of cycles, so there's still traces right now in my bone marrow. We'll see in a month. I have a biopsy, hopefully coming out negative. But I really do believe that the inner work that I'm doing, and of course the diet, like going vegan, but
How long have
I
you been
believe
vegan?
since I got diagnosed.
So you
I
said
was
lot.
vegetarian before, and I was just about to start eating beef again. I was like, okay, I need some meat. And then the universe said, no, guess what? Not going to happen. So
Well,
I had a
honestly,
steak or
yes.
two and went vegan. Yeah.
It was your last meal of steak. But yeah, honestly, there's more and more and more research coming up how the food affects us, how our mindset affects us, like how that could equally, if not even more, affect our physical health compared to medicine and Western practice. So actually, there is a doctor who's doing that study with actually measuring people and their brains and all of that. Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's really popular
I'm
in the
doing his
online.
yes, I'm doing his course now, the progressive intensive course, and hopefully go to the
Oh, how was
advanced. So
that?
yeah,
Are you
amazing.
currently doing it?
Yeah,
Is that the
I've been
online course
following
or the
him.
retreat?
I understood from people that were in the retreat that if you do the intensive progressive online, the retreat gives you tenfold. It's like you set yourself up much better for the retreat. I don't know if that's really the way. That's just what I heard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, for our listeners, you guys can check him out. His name's Dr. Joe Dispenza, and that's what he does. I want to say almost he brings the spiritual world and the medicine world and the meditation world like all together in order to try to heal yourself with whatever that you need to be, whatever you're going through. It could be like a major health thing like cancer, or it could be a bad habit, or it could be a goal you want to set. So I've been kind of listening to him too, and I find it very interesting. I've been meaning to try to I read his book. I've been meaning to go to the retreat just to experience it for fun so I could talk about it. But it's nice to see that you're doing the online course. I think I genuinely believe like that's half of it at least, like our mindset and the way,
Right.
you know, we're prepping ourselves and our minds and our bodies in order to heal from whatever we're fighting.
Right.
Now, going back to your story, you showed us our book. Can you tell us a little bit more about what made you want to actually write a book and publish it, and how has your experience been with distributing it?
With distributing it, I'll start there. Horrible, horrible, like horrible.
They don't tell
um,
you how hard it is to sell an item, right? You think that you're
Very
focused on
hard.
getting it.
Yeah, especially when like I am not this person that's like, yeah, come read my book. You know, I'm a wonderful salesperson when it comes to other people's products, but selling yourself is much harder. Um, Especially when it's your first book. It's a book that I wrote after those exact things, you know, those different processes that I felt myself lost after motherhood, and I needed to rediscover and reconnect. And like the different chapters in there are like the different things that I encountered, like those tests and those mirrors that I was talking about in motherhood. So like the fear of commitment, that suddenly like you notice you haven't committed to yourself for years,
Mm,
because you commit so easily to so many things for 4 different schedules, or depend how many kids you have
mm,
and partners you have, you know, but committing for yourself, like, yes, every Friday at this and this time, I will be doing like things like that, or embracing failure, or how many things you don't dare to try. It's like, yeah, you go play. I'll be here looking at you. It's fine. And then sometimes, and my daughter's like, Mom, you never do anything with us, when she was young. She's 13 now. And I was like, whoa, I took that, and I know that she's my reflection. And then I started just doing I started saying yes to so many different things that they asked me to join in with. And it was so much fun. You discover so many things and you learn to let go of that thought of like, am I making a fool of myself? It's like, 45, got a kid. What it, you know, jump in the pool, jump in the soccer game. It doesn't matter. Have fun.
Awesome. Now, going back to your kind of wake up call with visiting the cardiologist, you're having too much coffee, your heart skipping a beat. What what was that like after that appointment? What was that wake up call like? What made you, what actions did you take right after that appointment? Because you change your lifestyle, right? To a healthier
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
diet and all that. Can we talk a little bit about that?
About diet. That's when I went vegetarian. After that cardiologist appointment, I started like looking into, my father's wife at the time was diagnosed with cancer. And I started
Mm.
following Ocean Robbins and the Food Foundation and the Revolution, Food Revolution, and just like reading different things to how your diet can help, and different supplements and things like that. And I let go. I used to eat tons of meat, and it's funny. I was
Guilty right
like
there.
9 years vegetarian, then a meat eater for 6 years, crazy, and then vegan now. But yeah, been through the different stages of it. But I did go vegetarian, and I did yoga in order to find that natural energy and balance. I started meditating. I am very temperamental person. So every time like meditating comes up, it was like, for me, it was something that I knew I needed to do for 20 years. And every time I would sit down and be like, after 3 minutes, be like, okay, great, I'm done. Can't do this. It's not for me.
And I
And
think a
then I
lot of
just,
people experience that. A lot of people have
yeah,
that interpretation of meditation that you just need to sit there and be blank and be quiet. But there's so many different types of meditative practices. What helped you kind of change your mindset about meditation?
I put it as, back then I was very hard on myself. So I just put it more as like, look, this
A
is not a
challenge.
question. Yeah. As a 30-day challenge. And through that 30-day challenge, I promised myself, I made a commitment to myself that I was not going to judge. And if I was going to F it up, I would F it up gracefully, with grace, and say, wonderful, I'll move on tomorrow and do it again. And there was one day I remember sitting there and getting so excited. I was like, ha, I nailed it. And looking at the clock, and it was like 3 minutes passed. I cannot believe it. Like, I thought I was there for at least 10 minutes. But today I can even sit for 50 minutes and an hour. And just the
Wow.
fact that you allow yourself, it's a new practice. No matter how old you are, it's something you haven't done for all the years you've been alive. So you need to train yourself, your mind, to be in that quiet moment, and it will wander, and it's okay. And you just accept that, notice where it's wandering, and say, hey, come back. Let's listen to the breath again. And if you do that for 3 minutes for 5 days, then you'll be able to do it for 5. And then you'll be able to do it for 10. And the goal is just to kind of get to like a 15, 20-minute practice a day. And especially to all those who join me with focus disorders and all the kinds of sorts of, when you have that practice of meditation in the morning, it helps. You can just like DJ life instead of being the fireman that puts out the fires. You know what I mean? You're not like
Yeah.
on the to-do list. You're more like, okay, let's put this on. Let's merge it with this. Let's take this and add that in for a minute.
I
Or,
like
you know
that.
what I
I like
mean?
that. Yeah, I like the DJ analogy. I haven't heard that one yet. Awesome, Sharon. Well, my next question to you is you started doing mindful or mindset practice. What changes did you notice in your children's and in your life, like your whole household's life, when you did start these practices?
Um, I'm a teacher in my soul, so I
How do you know that?
because I find myself lecturing and no, I'm kidding. I was teasing myself for a second, but I found myself sharing those moments with my children. I know that with children, with my children, let me be more specific. The best way for them to engage in things that I want them to hear or take part in or is usually just by telling them my experience and sharing my part, not telling them what I think they should do. So I could tell
Okay.
you that when they were young, that's how I would help them go to sleep, is like through visualization, a guided meditation. Sometimes one of them may bring it up. Not really. They're like more, it's like more like, oh, mom's doing meditation now or something like that. I could tell you that yoga, you can see whatever you do affects your family. And the biggest part of affecting your family, it doesn't need to rub off on them. It's the way you are able to be more present, like how I can be more present with them during the day. Like, for example, my child's talking to me, I can leave everything, that mindfulness of like just dropping everything and being present in the moment and listening to what he has to say, not while mixing the pan, not while cutting the onions, just like letting it go for a second. And even if it's just for 5 minutes, those 5 minutes, first of all, they'll never repeat themselves again. So you need to be grateful. You'll be great. Need to be grateful for them and give them that moment. And second of all, when you give them those 5 minutes, it takes less time. You're not dealing with it for 15. So
Yeah.
so it just opened kind of the communication. It opened a lot of the communication. It granted me a lot of patience. It granted me a lot of balance. So the experience for them in the house is better.
Awesome. Do you feel like it gave them also more connection with you, so they were overall better behaved and happier as younger children, I want to say? Because there's a lot of things I have very young children, and there's a lot of things I've read about that at least 20 minutes a day each parent should spend like uninterrupted with each child. If we can do it separately, even better. But even with all the kids together, uninterrupted, each parent 20 minutes a day. And there's a huge behavior change in the kids. Like they're just behave better because they're getting like their love connection with their parents
Right.
filled. I did practice it. I did see a difference in my kids, but I was wondering for you, since this is what you've studied, what have you noticed, and what can you share with our listeners that they can try in their own families?
I believe that those moments with the children give them that fixing that they need. It
Mm-hmm.
builds their confidence. It builds their trust. Why confidence? Because for 20 minutes, you're all about them. For 20
Mm-hmm.
minutes, I don't do 20 minutes, honestly, a day. I do
At
more
least.
of like, yeah, so I do more of like, I try to find those moments that they have a story or something that they're more and take more advantage of it and just like make that 10 minutes, those moments before bed where they have so much to say because they don't want to go to sleep. Those are amazing moments.
I'm still not enjoying those moments. My
No,
kids are
no,
all
no,
under
no.
4 years old.
Yeah, those are not easy. Those are not easy. But I think it builds their self-confidence. It builds like a communication and a trust between you, and it really helps. And for me, it was more, I can't say I did the 20 minutes. I could say I did like, with each one before bedtime, the bedtime routine, and like with throughout the day, I'd find like moments that like they would tell me a story. I would be busy and I would say, you know what? Hold that thought because I really, really, really want to hear that story, but without anything. So hold on 1 second. So with saying that, I was like, I hear you. I really want to hear it. I'm not like just trying to brush you off, and give me a moment, I'll be right back to you. And when I say that, I finish what I'm doing, I get to them, and I leave everything, so that getting back to them again builds that confidence of, she means what she's going to say. She means what she says.
Definitely. So, going back with being surprised when you first became a mother, you said nobody warns you about motherhood until you're in it. What was the biggest surprise about motherhood to you?
I think that there are a couple. I think there are a couple, but the biggest surprise is the mirrors that you get through them, how they reflect you all the time. They're upset when you're upset. Even when they're babies, the baby cries when you're agitated and not like, right? It's like,
It's
why,
your
when now I
fault.
needed, right? Exactly. It's like, everything's your fault in motherhood, right? I'm
Well,
kidding.
I blame my husband. I always blame my husband. I say, it's yours. You don't have a good energy right now. That's why the baby's crying. But
He
yeah,
can feel
no,
your energy.
they do reflect us. I've noticed.
So that part, and also the fact that the mourning period that goes, like mourning your old self, that disconnection from your old self in the first baby that comes. No one tells you that. Like, no one really tells you, hey, look, because they don't want to bum you out for having the baby, right? But they don't. Guess what? When that thing's going to come out, you're going to say bye to yourself really quick, right? No one's going to say that to you. But on the other hand, it's just, you become a better version of you. You become a more sophisticated, more intelligent version of you that's more aware, that has these survival skills nailed. It's like a crash course. You get this crash course, and you learn how to put others first, how to deal with extreme situations. You learn how so many things that help you on for your journey in motherhood later on. But that point, that thing that once you get into that loop, and it's hard, it's not an easy loop, you will lose yourself, and it is okay. And you may get upset, and it is okay. Physically, the brain changes. Physically, your body's changing. Everything is literally changing. And we don't give ourselves that compassion, and that, like, we're like, our clothes are not ours, so we're upset at our body for not looking the way it did, or our clothes for not having that style anymore. Our thoughts are not ours because it's filled with their things. Our energy's not ours. Our nights are not ours if you're still breastfeeding, or your baby's not sleeping through the night. So many things are not yours, and it's really frustrating in the beginning. But if you understand that that's just like this crash course to getting you into family life, to learning how to deal and navigate in your new role and your new journey. And it's okay to be bummed out, and it's okay to have hormone crashes, and it's okay to fall. And I think that's what was missing, that you're okay. It's okay to.
It's temporary.
Right.
And a lot of it's temporary. Now, a lot of moms come to you for coaching for type of things like that, trying to balance themselves, their work, their family life, being, moms and entrepreneurs as well. Now, what is the most common, or what do you find yourself working on with your clients most that our listeners can benefit from? What advice do you have for our overworked, overwhelmed, sleep deprived, awesome moms out there?
So a few things. Understanding, becoming aware of the way your inner dialogue, the way you talk to yourself and towards yourself. That's a huge one. That's hearing yourself say, let's start somewhere else. Thoughts. That thoughts create our reality, right? That our mind creates everything. Our mindset is key to everything we have. We have 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. 95% of them are repetitive. 95% of them are things that come unconsciously. Like, we don't even think about them, like how to make the coffee in the morning, right? It's ways that our brain puts ourselves in a like energy saving mode.
Yeah,
So
autopilot
we
mode. We're
autopilot, right? So
programmed. Yeah.
95%, exactly. So 95% of that is on autopilot, and 80% of that 95 or of that 100 is negative. So if
Hmm.
we listen to our inner dialogue and pay attention to the way we talk to ourselves and change, let's catch ourselves 5 times a day coming to blame ourselves or victimize ourselves or tell ourselves how bad, irresponsible, how without respecting all the 5,000 things we do and didn't forget. You know what I mean? And just like
Yeah.
catch ourselves in those little 5 times and say, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. Just move
Or
on.
replace it with a positive one.
Oh, exactly. So if you can't replace it with a positive one, just, either move on or just stop. Just stop. But the best way, of course, is to replace it with the positive one. And the positive one doesn't even have to be like, oh, wow, I'm so amazing. It could be things are getting better for me every day. Just like kind of getting you through. Hey, I'm
Yeah.
getting better at that. I forgot that bag, but, I did think
At
about
least
it.
I
So next
brushed
time,
my hair today.
sorry?
I said, well, you can even replace it with thoughts like, hey, today at least I brushed my hair.
Exactly.
Something
Exactly.
that
I went to the
simple.
restroom alone. Exactly.
Now, before I ask you more questions, because I really want to get to know you a little bit better, can you share a little bit about your programs and your mom mindset coaching? What programs do you offer?
So as of now, with the cancer integrating into my life, I do a little bit of one-on-one coaching, not too much. You can always get in touch with me through my website or through the Instagram or something like that. The programs that I do, I have a group. I'm starting this in March in San Diego Breastfeeding Center. We're doing a monthly mindset coffee meet for moms.
Okay. And it's a physical
And
meeting.
right, a physical meeting. And I will try to also, I wanted to also create one online. It probably will happen within the next 2 months as well. I
All
just need
right.
to see how things are going,
Definitely
health
follow
wise.
you. See?
Yes. And I'm trying to get it into a few more venues. I really feel like I want to give from myself to help mamas reconnect. Um, really, we need a hug. We need a hug once in a while. And we're so strong. We're so amazing. And we do so much. And we don't realize it enough. And if we would, it would give us such an amazing perspective of ourselves. We could conquer the world.
Yeah, sometimes we need somebody like you or a friend or somebody out there to remind us of how good of a job we're doing. And like you said, that it is okay not to be okay for a period of time. We just need
Right.
to work on it incrementally and get better and better and better until we are happy with the place we are again. And literally everybody goes through it. So I'm a mother too of 3 young children, and I lost it too. With the first one, surprisingly, I was still balancing pretty good. But when the second one came, I kind of lost, not kind of, I really lost my balance, and that I want to say full, um, happy go lucky self, because I'm usually very like, everything's great. Like, I'm positive. I can
Yeah.
problem, but it did get to me after the second kid, and it caught me off guard. And again, I had to do more self work. I had to remind myself too that it's okay, it's going to get better. Like, it's okay. Like, take time off, take time to work on yourself again. We always need to do that self
And be
work. And I,
nice and be nice and be nice to yourself and be nice. We
yes.
go through so much, we do so much, and we're so mean. We're so mean to ourselves, really.
Yeah, and honestly, I think hiring a coach could have expedited that process for myself and for other people as well. So more and more, I'm a person who does a lot of like self work on my own. I love reading books. I love listening to things. I love kind of figuring it out on my own. But more and more lately, I'm like, no, I kind of want a person to guide me. Why am I gonna spend so much time to figure it out on my own when I can have somebody help me and guide me? So what are your thoughts about that? Did you work with any coaches throughout your process of finding kind of your balance again, or in any life situation? What has your journey been like with coaches?
I have worked with several mentors in the past. I am like you, that I like to learn and process things constantly and on my own. But I do find that guidance sometimes, even if it's like a 3-session, 4-session, like a fast path, or when I was completely lost, if I would have went towards guidance, that would have made my process go so much quicker. I have like a 12-step program that I'm going to put out in the fall. I do it once or twice a year. And it really takes you through those steps of rediscovering, reconnecting, and realigning yourself to your authentic self. Um, and I feel that because I do a lot of the work on my own, I don't mind the group environments, because you hear a lot of things that you wouldn't have said on your own. And sometimes, and it's similar for you as well. So I think you learn a lot in a group environment as well. So it doesn't have to be necessarily one-on-one coaching. I do think like group coaching, or it keeps you there's accountable, it keeps you on track. I am currently as well working with a mentor for the business side.
Awesome.
It
Awesome.
helps me.
Awesome. Now, we are running short on time, so I have last couple of questions for you. I always love to ask my guests, what does a happy and fulfilled life look like to you today?
A happy and fulfilled life would mean that I am in love with life. Every single day that I wake up, I have time for my children and for my family. I have flow of abundance for what I need. And most of all, I am healthy and hopefully in remission soon. So I can stay healthy
Awesome.
and available here for my children.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, if somebody was following you around for a day, what does your day to day life look like as a coach, as an entrepreneur, and as a mom?
So you would hear my alarm wake me up at 5:15.
Wow. Okay.
And I would snooze it for 5 minutes. For 5 minutes. Usually in order, now I have a perfect excuse. If you want to, I'm going to allow all your listeners to use this amazing excuse. I've been
To
trying to be
snooze.
aware of the excuse to snooze. I've been trying to be aware of my dreams. So
Oh,
the first snooze is for me to just focus on the dream that I had and try and remember it. So when I wake up, I write it down. But that was basically my my excuse for the snooze button, is to dream a little bit more. After that, I meditate for between half an hour to 45 minutes. There are days that I meditate for 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. I'd rather do 5 than not do anything at all. You know what I mean? So I
yeah.
try to maintain the consistency. That's more important for me than the amount of time. After I meditate, I do sun salutations, a little bit of stretching, and I go drink coffee with my husband, because that is my mama time. And my mama time before everyone wakes up, that's me taking the coffee. While I mix in my attention for the day. It could be a word, it could be a sentence, it could be an affirmation, but like balance, ease. I want synchronicities today. I want nice people around me. And that's my time to prep myself for the day as a mom. Those are like the holy times of the day. And if you can't wake up at 5, waking up even 15 minutes before the kids wake up, to just wake up to your thoughts and to your moments and to those are so big and so crucial, to allow yourself for a second to breathe while you're drinking your coffee, to like take a sip, take some water before you drink your coffee. Like think about it even before.
It also makes you feel like you have control over your life if you're choosing to wake up at your own time, your own alarm, compared to the kids waking you up. And then like it all starts really quickly without you getting a breather. So I could see how that practice is crucial for moms or for parents.
You said it amazingly, choosing. Finding that you can choose to wake up, because a lot of things when you get lost in motherhood is the fact that you don't remember that you have a choice. You're like, choose? What do you mean choose? I have to do this and I have to do this and I have to do this and I have to do this. But that's true. Like choosing to wake up and choosing to do that it changes the whole mindset for the day. After that, I take my kids out, go back to work, work until 3:30, and then I drop everything from 3:30 to around 8. I Uber my kids around from place to place. Each one has their own schedule, as if they're have their own driver. It's I'm a driver for them for like a few hours, and in between I steal little moments with them. And then I can either complete work for another hour or two, or wind down with my husband. I usually journal a little bit at night. I try just to kind of empty out my thoughts, if not write down aha moments of the day or different things like that. And I meditate myself to sleep at night.
That sounds like you have a really good control over your day, or at least you try, to control your mornings and your nights, which is beautiful. I think everybody should try to at least, try to control their mornings and or nights. That little hour maybe that we have to ourselves is it sounds so great in theory, but it is hard in practice. I myself have been on and off different routines. I think I'm still practicing and trying different things with each stage of life as it changes, to find like that perfect routine that works for me. Because in theory and in practice, it works different for every single person. But your day sounds like it's flowing beautifully, and I love.
But Yegi, I can tell you that I have to say, okay, for all those mothers out there that are like, oh my God, she has it down. No. In August, I want to remind you, I was diagnosed with cancer. I needed to do self-care and self-love. I know that this is needed for my healing. So this is what's forcing me to do what I believe is ideal to do anyway. You know what I mean? Like this is like keeping me accountable. Because I've been doing this for 6 years, but like there have been like 5 times a week or sometimes a month that I don't do anything, or summer vacation comes. You know what I mean? Like that inconsistency.
Well, that's beautiful. Thank you so much, Sharon, for sharing. We are out of time, so I do want to get your last words of wisdom or your last words of encouragement for our listeners. And please tell them again where they can find you and connect with you.
Okay, so I'll leave you with 2 things. Just like one thing is the fact that try not to take anything from anybody personal, and allow yourself to be present in your life. And the second thing is find the moments and become aware of the moments where you can allow yourself to choose, and to notice how you're talking to yourself, to notice your inner dialogue and things like that. It eases so much. That has a ripple effect. That one thought that you can change a day has a ripple effect of 15, 20 thoughts. And then the next day, those 15, 20 thoughts can ripple effect to another. and it goes to hundreds and thousands, and it affects so much. And every day, that consistency of paying attention to how you pay attention to yourself, how you're taking other people's words into your life and creating those boundaries, it's crucial for your well-being. And I wish you luck.
Thank you so much again, Sharon. And I 100% agree. We just recently did an episode about self-talk, actually, and how to stop negative self-talk and replace it with positive one as a way to build your confidence, because that's kind of the key and the foundation of growing and personal development.
Right.
Like, we need that in order to start that journey, at least, or have a successful personal development journey. But again, I can talk on and on about these topics. Thank you so much again for your time. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. And we will definitely link everything below for them to find you. But if you want to also verbally say it, that would be great for our listeners.
Okay, so my website is Sharon Banyas, Sharon Hefetz Consulting. It's SHARON Hefetz, HEFETZ Consulting. And you can also find me on Instagram and on Facebook, and DM me, and we can figure it out together.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you again, Sharon. And until next time, thank you to our listeners for tuning in. We'll be seeing you next week. Bye. Thank you for listening. Please rate and review this podcast. Follow and engage with us on social media under the Yegi Project. And if you're interested in being a guest, email info@theyegiproject.com. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes.